Hi there, today we're going to be talking more about long division and especially looking at problems that have two-digit divisors. Just as a reminder, we see the 4 steps of long division here: divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. They repeat over and over and over and over, and it's a really good idea to write those 4 steps down for each problem so that way you can reference it as you go through the problems. We're going to start with problem number 1, and I'm going to be showing a strategy that is going to make long division with two-digit divisors go a lot faster. Let's start with number 1, just setting it up. So we have 234 divided by 13. Remember that the first number, the dividend, goes on the inside, and the second number, the divisor, goes on the outside. So you can see that our divisor 13 is 2 digits, which means that we're going to be having to think about multiples of 13 for the entire problem. It's going to make our lives a lot easier to make a little chart of multiples off to the side. In fact, that's going to be the expectation anytime we have a 2-digit divisor. What I like to do is start with just the first 5 multiples and add in more if I need more later. So 1 times 13 is 13, so I'll put the 13 there. Then I have to double that to get 26. To get the multiple of 3, you could just add together the first 2 that you've already got in. So that was going to be 39. To get the multiple of 4, I just picture the multiple of 3 and I picture adding the multiple of 1 to it. Or you could double the multiple of 2. So if I do 13 plus 39, that's going to be 52. And then to get the multiple of 5, you just add another 13 to that. So that's going to be 65. I might have to add more multiples later, but this is a good start. So now I'm going to go and look at the different columns that I have. Remember, we're always looking at one column at a time. So I have my 3 columns here. I'm going to start with my green column. And I'm going to ask myself, does 13 go into 2? It does not. So I'm going to put a 0 there. Since the green column couldn't do it, I'm going to move on to the blue column. And this time, I'm asking, does 13 go into 23? Not just the 3, 23. 13 does go into 23. Based on my chart, I can see that it's going to go in 1 time. It's not enough to go in twice. So I'm going to put a 1 there. And then based on my chart, I can see that 1 times 13 is 13. And then I need to subtract. 23 minus 13 is 10. So I've done divide, multiply, subtract. Now I need to bring down the 4. So now I'm asking myself, how many times does 13 go into 104? Well, I can see that my chart of multiples is not very close to 104. So I'm going to keep going on my chart. The highest I could ever have to go on my chart is 9, because that's the highest answer you could have in long division. You can't have 2 digits. You can't put a 10 there. So I'm going to keep adding 13 to my other numbers. So this is going to be 78. And then that's still not high enough. I need to get it to 104. And then 78 plus 13 is going to be 91. It's getting closer, but I don't know if it's high enough yet. 91 plus 13 is going to be, oh, that's exactly 104. Perfect. So I don't even have to bother finding the multiple of 9. So back to my work. I can see that 13 goes into 104 8 times. 13 times 8 is 104. I subtract and I get 0. And I have a 0 remainder and nothing else to bring down, so I'm done with my problem. Then I need to write a final answer, 18. You have to write a final answer. You can't just have the long division with your answer, because there's too many numbers in there to tell what you think the final answer is. So that's an example problem. We're going to keep doing this and keep looking at the next couple problems together. So let's look at problem 2. Just so I can see it, I'm going to write the long division steps here. Divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. So I'm going to set this up as 408 on the inside and 12 on the outside. This is read as 408 divided by 12. I want you to pause the video and make the chart with multiples of 12. you're going to start with the first 5, and then later on we'll add more if we need to. Pause the video, make your chart. All right, hopefully you have your chart made now. So the first 5 multiples of 12 would be 12, 24, 36, 48, 60, and maybe I won't need any more. So I always just start with 5. Pause the video and see if you can go through the long division for this. When you're ready to check your work, come back and watch the video. Okay, hopefully you've tried the long division. So I'm going to look at my columns here. So I have the column with the 4, I have the column with the 0, and I have the column with the 8. So the first thing that I'm going to ask myself, I'm going to do the divide step. I'm going to ask myself, how many times does 12 go into 4? It doesn't. So I'm going to move over and have the number in the next column help me. I'm still in the divide step. How many times does 12 go into 40? Well, I know it does go into 40, and based on my chart, I can see it fits in 3 times. So that's where I'm going to be focusing. Now, I'm going to write 3 at the top and see how it's lined up over the 0. It shouldn't be over the 4 because we needed that 0 to help. Now I'm going to go into my multiply step, and I'm going to do 12 times 3. That's 36. I'm going to subtract. So I'm bringing that down. I'm going to be subtracting next. 40 minus 36 is 4. And then I'm going to do my bring down step. I'm going to bring down the number in the next column, 8. Since I'm in that red column now, I use that 8. That means my answer for this next step is going to be in the red column. So I have to go back to divide. My next question is, how many times does 12 go into 48? Based on my chart over here, I can see it goes in exactly 4 times. 12 goes into 48 4 times. 12 times 4, that's my multiplication step. 12 times 4 is 48. Next, my subtraction step. 48 minus 48 is 0. And I look to see if there's something that I should bring down for my bring down step, but there's nothing else there, so I'm done. So 34 is going to be my final answer. Pause the video, see if you could do problem 3. You do need to make a chart with the multiples of 16, and then see if you could do the long division. Come back and watch the video when you're ready to check. All right, hopefully you are ready to check. So I'm going to set this up as 448 divided by 16. I'm going to write my steps over here, divide, multiply, subtract, bring down, and then I need to do my chart of 16s. So I'm going to start with just the first 5 multiples, and then maybe I'll have to add in more later. So first multiple is 16, second multiple is 32, third multiple is 48, fourth multiple is 64, and fifth multiple is 80. It might feel like it's a waste of time to make that chart, but it's really not. Students who make the chart go a lot faster because they're not thinking about the multiples of 16 for every step. You write it out once, and then you have it to use for every step of the problem. So it's really not a waste of time. So I'm going to look at my columns now. I have this red column, I have this green column, and I have a blue column. And I'm going to start with my red column, and I will be doing the divide step. So I'm asking myself, how many times does 16 go into 4? It does not. So I need to go over to my green column. I am now done with my red column because I need my green column for help. How many times does 16 go into 44? This time it does. Based on my chart, I can see it goes in twice. So I'm going to put a 2 in the green column, and then I'm ready to do multiplication. 16 times 2 is 32. That answer was in my chart. I didn't have to redo that. Now I'm going to do subtraction. 44 minus 32 is 12. And now bring down. I need to bring down this 8. 16 goes into 128 how many times? I can see on my chart that all my numbers here are too small. So I'm going to have to add some more numbers, and I might even skip around because 128 is a lot bigger than the biggest number I have there, which is 80. So I know the maximum I'll have to do is 9, but what if I try to jump to 8? I could do that by doubling my answer for 4. So if I take 64 plus 64 and see what I get, it actually comes out to exactly 128. I didn't even expect that, but it worked out perfectly. So I was able to skip multiples, so I didn't waste my time finding all the ones in between, and I actually ended up with the number that I needed. So I know that 16 goes into 128 8 times. 16 times 8 is 128. Subtract, and you get 0. I have nothing else to bring down, so I'm done with that problem. The answer is 28. Try problem 4. Pause the video. Come back when you're ready to see the answer. All right, hopefully you're ready to see the answer for problem 4. So I'm going to start with my chart, and the 11s are easy to fill in. It's just 11, 22, 33, 44, 55. I'm going to leave my chart up to 5 for now, and I know my steps are divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. 7, 15 is going to go on the inside, 11's on the outside. I'm not going to bother doing my columns with highlighting for my examples anymore, but if it's helping you, please continue to do that in your work. So I'm going to start with divide. 11 does not go into 7, so I'm done with that column. There's a 0 above the 7. It has to be lined up. I'm going to move over one column to get my next number to help me. 11 does go into 71, but my chart doesn't go up high enough, so I'm going to add a couple more lines. And that one's actually enough. If I look at the 7, I get all the way to 77, which is too high. So if this will move over, 11 is going to go into 71 6 times. And in my chart, I can see 11 times 6 is 66. That is my multiplication step. Next, I'm going to do my subtraction step. 71 minus 66. Notice how I have it lined up. The 5 has nothing below it. 71 is exactly above 66. 71 minus 66 is 5. So next I'm going to do bring down the 5. And in my chart I could see that 11 goes into 55 exactly 5 times. 11 times 5 is 55. Subtract, and you get 0. There's nothing else to bring down. So my answer is 65. All right, try number 5. Come back and watch the video when you're ready to see the answer. Hopefully you've done the problem. I'm going to start by making my multiples chart. I know the first one is always just the number itself. Double that, I get 28. 28 plus 14 is 42. Plus another 14 is 56. Plus one more 14 is 70. Maybe that'll be enough. We'll see. So I have 392 divided by 14. I have my steps: divide, multiply, subtract, bring down. I know that 14 does not go into 3, so I'm going to put a 0 there. 14 does go into 39. It goes in twice. So I'm going to put a 2 above the 9. 14, and that was the division step. 14 times 2 is my multiplication step. That's going to be 28. And then I'm going to do my subtraction step. 39 minus 28 is 11. I'm going to bring down my next number. Keep everything lined up in its columns. And now I have 112. So I need to add a little bit more to my chart. I know the maximum I'll have to go up to is 9. I'm going to go to 9 and see if that's good enough. So for 9, I could do either 14 times 9 off to the side, or I could add my answers for 4 and 5, because 4 and 5 add up to 9. Well, 14 times 9 is 126. That's too big, so maybe I'll find 8 next. To find 8, I could double my answer for 4. Doubling 56, it actually is 112. So 8 is going to be the next number that I'm going to use. 14 goes into 112 8 times. That is my division step. Then I need to multiply. 14 times 8 is 112. Subtract. And I get 0. There's nothing else to bring down. I do still consider the bring down step, but there's nothing else to bring down. And I got a remainder of 0, so I'm done. So this answer is 28. On problem 6, it's a one-digit divisor. We're just dividing by 8. So you actually are not required to make a chart. But if you think the chart is helpful, you can go ahead and make it. Pause the video, try number 6, come back when you're ready to watch. All right, hopefully you're ready to watch. So I have 2,832 divided by 8. 8 does not go into 2. 8 does go into 28 3 times. 8 times 3 is 24. Subtract, and you get 4. Now I need to go to the next column and bring down my 3. 8 goes into 43 5 times. 8 times 5 is 40. Subtract, you get 3. Bring down the 2. 8 goes into 32 4 times. 8 times 4 is 32. Subtract and get 0. There's nothing else to bring down, and I have a 0 remainder, so my answer is 354. I'm going to shrink my work because I took up too much room. The 0 came with, but that's all right. So you guys are going to continue to you're going to continue to practice the rest of the page, 7, 8, 9, and 10. You're going to make your charts if it's a two-digit divisor, and you're going to do the long division. These 4 you're going to try on your own. Thank you guys for watching.